This has got to be the most bizarre record attempt I've ever heard of. This machine is called the Gillette Mach 3 Challenger, and it's designed to travel at 500 miles an hour on 2 wheels. Despite its cigar shape, it's actually classified as a rocket-powered motorbike, but it really looks much more like a missile on wheels. Apart from those 2 wheels, it's about as unlike any other motorbike as you can imagine. Its design and aerodynamics have much more to do with the space age than any motorcycle industry. It's 8 meters long. It has 2 retractable skis to keep it upright when it's going along very slowly, and it's powered by rocket motors. The rockets are hybrid motors. High-pressure nitrogen pumps liquid fuel from these tanks at almost supersonic speed to combine with a solid fuel. The result? Around 10 times the power of a Grand Prix car. The entire bike is hand-built by engineer Richard Brown, who plans to drive it to a new world record. Now, you call this thing a motorbike, but it looks more like a missile to me.
Yes, that's you're absolutely right. It is more missile than motorcycle, perhaps. But no, I mean the reason that it is the shape it is, obviously the initial confinements is the size of the driver, i.e. me. And really, from then on, it's a case of simply placing all the components in front or behind me in order to keep the minimal frontal area.
This isn't the first rocket bike that Richard's built. A couple of years ago, he designed the 200-mile-an-hour Boost Paloost. To break records, he has to do at least 220. But Richard thinks the Mach 3 Challenger could eventually manage up to 500 miles an hour. Now, what's it like to drive?
It's actually a fairly violent thing to drive, fairly tricky. You know, you need your wits about you at all times. You certainly can't afford any lapses of concentration.
Terrifying.
Yes, it's a hell of a ride.
Is it dangerous?
There are obviously the inherent dangers. I mean, breaking land speed records is a dangerous thing to be doing, no doubt about that. But we have built in, you know, several safety features within the vehicle, not least of all this very heavy-duty roll cage. So hopefully, you know, if anything were to go wrong, I would be fairly well protected.
Richard and his team have got their eyes on 3 records. First, the British motorcycle land speed record of 209 miles an hour. Then the 259 mile an hour outright British land speed record. And finally, the big target for Richard is the 332 mile an hour world speed record for a motor bicycle. Now, this place is too short for that. He's going to have to go to America for that big record. At the moment, he's hoping today to do some trials with his rockets firing, but there's a side wind blowing which makes it very dangerous to drive this vehicle at all. So there are no timekeepers here today. During the morning, the wind does drop. At least they can test the bike's stability before Richard fires the rockets. The bike's towed to around 30 miles an hour, and things seem to be going well for the team. But suddenly, there's a problem.
Andy, you're over 4. Abort. There was an abort signal from Malcolm. Wind speed is high.
The strong, gusty winds make it dangerous to run the bike. It's now a matter of waiting for calmer weather. Tension mounts as the hours tick by, but all Richard can do is stand back and wait. If they don't run the bike today, it could put a record attempt back by weeks.
Richard, crosswind is within limits, about 2.5 metres a second, but your tailwind's up at about 9 metres a second, over. Roger that, we'll give it a try, over.
Well, it's been a long day, but here at 12 hours later this evening, the wind has dropped a bit. There's a window for Richard to have a go at firing up his rocket motor. So at the moment, he's just fueling up. We should at a moment see the nitrogen in his nitrogen tanks pressurizing the liquid fuel that's going to light the motors, and then we'll see a preheat, the steam coming out of the back as he preheats his rocket motor. Then the vehicle will tow him forward, drop him off when he's doing about 60 miles an hour here, and we should then see him fire up his rocket, and off he goes past us.
Preheat number 2. Okay, everybody, we are rolling. I felt that shoot bite, dear oh dear.
In 3 seconds, the bike accelerated to an unofficial 150 miles an hour. Short of the record, but a good test.
Remember skids.
Richard, how about that?
Yeah, that was good. Really enjoyed it.
You were pleased with it? What was it like?
Yeah, it was, well, it was a textbook run, to be honest. That's what it's supposed to do. Yeah, it was very pleased. I mean, it's been a long day waiting here for the weather to be right, but yeah, when it was right, it's really right.
And what did it feel like as you switched on that rocket motor?
Oh, absolutely phenomenal. Every time I do it, I just think this is more powerful. It never ceases to amaze me.